This just happened. Breaking news. The U.S. just launched an ICBM into the Pacific Ocean. So
sick.
It's unarmed. Don't worry. U.S. launches unarmed ICBM into Pacific Ocean and amid China-North Korea tensions. For those that aren't familiar, it means intercontinental ballistic missile. Typically, what we use to put to transport nuclear warheads, to place them very quickly onto a city in order to make that city not a city anymore.
So we were just talking the other day about the doomsday clock, and we were memeing on it. I think that was it kind of earned
15
it.
seconds to midnight.
But
or
now, we're launching ICBMs as a show of force, because that's clearly what it was.
So this was, I guess, yesterday night. So it's like 11 p.m. Pacific time. Sorry, keep going.
No, well, I apparently it's not today, but even still, it's still saber rattling, and you've got the U.S. sending military aid and stuff to Russia, and we've got this at least escalation of tensions with China, even if it's just marginally.
Japan gets super nervous when North Korea launches missiles.
I don't
off their
blame
coast.
them.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
there's a reason people do these things. It's not just coincidental.
The North Koreans do not like the Japanese, so I don't blame them. And I don't understand why people are so cavalier about the behavior of the administration. It seems clear to me that we should be trying to de-escalate, and yet the current administration is completely comfortable doing everything it can. Go ahead, John Bolton.
Let me ask.
I was going to say, what is John Bolton's representative?
Let's be specific. What does de-escalation actually look like? Doing what?
The United States should not be giving money or aid to Ukraine, in my opinion.
Let's focus on Taiwan, because this is a little bit China-centric here.
Okay.
Do you think arming Taiwan with more arms makes it more or less likely that China will invade Taiwan or attempt an invasion of Taiwan?
I think that there is going to be an invasion of Taiwan regardless of what happens, and I think the United States is not in a position to defend Taiwan because of the nuclear missiles that China has and proximity. The Strait of Taiwan means that if China lands in Taiwan, they can supply the occupying army by just owning the strait.
Your answer was either way, though. What would make it such that China is more or less likely to invade if Taiwan is more or less armed?
I don't know that there is one that will make it more or less. I don't know that I have an opinion on it, because I believe that there is going to be an invasion eventually.
I think Xi Jinping made a calculation. I think Mao Zedong has said this in the past too. They will invade Taiwan when they think they will be able to successfully invade and incorporate Taiwan. So as long as Taiwan is strong enough to repel that invasion, China will not invade. I think that's why us arming Taiwan and making alliances with South Korea, with India, with Australia, with Japan, with the Philippines, with Vietnam even, is what's helping deter China from invading.
I agree, but I also think that China is too massive and has too many resources that it can centralize just outside of Taiwan. Taiwan can only have so much military power. China can amass substantially more. And then eventually, there's nothing we can do to stop them.
I mean, that's what it comes to. It's the timing of when China thinks they could successfully invade. I don't think they think they could successfully invade now.
I don't think that China...
And when they did think so is when they would invade, which is why we could never allow them to get to that point.
I don't think that China is going to be in a... John Bolton. I don't think that China is waiting on a military situation in Taiwan that is beneficial to them. I think that they are more waiting on a situation at home here in the U.S. where the U.S. is not in a position to defend Taiwan.
Well, these things overlap, though.
But what would that be? What would that be? What position would we be in the U.S.?
Well, if we get into any kind of active conflict with Russia, we're not going to be able to deal with.
Or if our citizens don't trust our government.
But China's backstopping Russia at this point too. So
World War III. All right.
Well, I mean,
and then also like Iran, we're having our ally in Israel bomb different drone facilities in Iran, which is supplying drones to Russia to attack Ukraine. So we are getting in this tense powder keg. The allies clearly are lined up, but again, the threshold for what would allow these conflicts to happen is whether or not our allies are strong enough to repel these attacks, and our enemies know this. So if Ukraine was strong enough, if Russia thought that Ukraine would be strong enough to repel them back, then they wouldn't have invaded to begin with. This is a miscalculation on Putin's part.
Ukraine is not our ally. We are not in any kind of treaty with them.
Yes, we are, though. I think it's the Budapest Memorandum when we made them agree to relinquish their nukes, and we said we would protect them from invasion.
Clear we walked away from that with Crimea.
We should have doubled down when Russia initially tried to take Crimea. But again, that was filled with like obscurities about how it was little green men and it wasn't actually supposed to be Russia. But I agree with you. We should have done something when it's Crimea. And now when they did an actual invasion where it's not little green men, where it's actually Russia, I'm glad that we're letting Ukraine defend itself. And I'll let you know something. If Russia didn't think they'd be able to successfully invade Ukraine, they wouldn't. And part of we could help contribute to that factor. So
that's why when Trump was president, Putin did not try.
Yeah,
because Trump's crazy.
Yeah. And Trump is doubling down on our allies in the Pacific. He got Japan to I forgot what the exact percent was, but highly increased the amount that they're contributing to our American bases. We're doubling down. We have a bunch of partnerships. I don't know the acronyms, but with Australia, India, South Korea, the Philippines, all the homies in the Pacific. We will not back down to the communists in China. And
Trump was great foreign policy. There were issues with it, of course. We can criticize everybody if we want to find reasons to criticize, and there are things I think we can, but come on, man. Not only that, you're right, but he was talking with North Korea, and I want to make sure everybody hears this. I've said it 50 billion times. When Trump crossed into North Korea from the DMZ, he had no security.
Yeah.
He walked into what is ostensibly enemy territory in a show of trust and good faith to bring peace. They walked up, smiled and shook hands and walked back. Trump was alone with enemy troops around him. He put his life on the line. But he was smart. He knew they're not going to do anything. It's like, you want the U.S. to come and wipe you off the start of war? So he knew he could make this effort. But I have tremendous respect for that. That was a powerful moment. And it's crazy to me that this is what scares me about the future. The people who are willing to vote for Joe Biden without knowing anything about what's going on. And then immediately what happens? Russia starts amassing troops on the border. We get war. And he's just dumping money into it. Look, before Trump got elected, you had escalating conflict with Ukraine and Russia, particularly because of U.S. Western involvement in Ukraine and Russia and the tensions. And there was conflict emerging, and then Trump gets elected, and it kind of stops. And then Biden gets elected, back. There we go again. And some people have said on the left, liberals, well, it's because Trump was doing Putin's bidding. And it's like, oh, yes, he was de-escalating U.S. influence operations in this territory, resulting in a de-escalation of war and conflict and kind of stabilizing things. He was wiping out ISIS and kind of stabilizing areas in the Middle East. He was bringing about the Abraham Accords. What is wrong with people? Like, they're just so tribal that they would vote for someone like Joe Biden, whose record's been apocalyptic going back to his Obama years.
Just completely
Orange man bad.
They're just totally ignorant, though.
Trump had an amazing foreign policy in part to his, I think it was national security advisor or policy advisor. It's John Bolton. John Bolton's who I'm talking about. I'm just teasing.
I will say Trump made a really good point. He said, someone told me this. I don't know if he said this, but someone said Trump said it, so correct me if I'm wrong. But when he would go to negotiate, and then these people would walk in and shake Trump's hand, and then Bolton would pop up behind him and they go, ah! Like all of a sudden, Trump's like, I want you to meet my friend, the guy who's just begging me to blow up your country. It's like, what do you, whatever you need. Like, they know he's serious. So
the mustache is very intimidating, guys.
I mean, I can say there's a net positive to Bolton's personality when he said this time next year we'll be celebrating in Tehran. I was like, that's insane. That's crazy. But maybe talking crazy freaks people out and makes people back off. I don't like the guys. I actually believe legitimately he would bring us to that war, so I'm not interested. But I can at least say the rhetoric does have the purpose of not having the war happen and making people back off.
John Bolton has never seen a bomb that he does not want to drop on someone.
Hasn't seen a terrorist he hasn't wanted blown up. Shout out to Qasem Soleimani in pieces.
Man.
When do you expect hashtag Bolton Bros to trend on Twitter?
It would only be because of this mustache on this show. So if not right now, probably never. I think he has a failing. Serge might have inspired me originally.
I think he came up with the hashtag
campaign now, so we'll see where John Bolton goes. This is partly tongue in cheek. I've just been rocking the mustache.
Every man here has
Can't
a
walk
mustache
it back now.
to some
No, but you have the
Wow,
beard.
what does that tell us
Phil,
about
just
Bolton?
get everything down. We'll do a Bolton Bro show.
Well, hold on. Like, You've shaved, have a mustache. Serge, I think you've also selectively shaven your face.
I can only grow a mustache, let's be real.
I just don't do anything. I just ignore it until it gets unkempt, and then I trim it down with buzzers.
I shave my neck.
I mean, I can't grow a beard for real. I got whatever weird Korean thing
I have
going
to
on.
shave my beard a lot every day. It just grows in real thick. It's really sad.
Shh, don't tell them the secrets.
I know.
When I
Well,
was-
feminists would say it's empowering to have a beard.
I think they call the
They would
mustache
lie to you,
the
too. It
lip.
doesn't matter.
The female mustache is the lip, as I understand. That's what they call it.
Is the lip?
No, like when they say shave my lip, they're talking about their mustache. No, am I making
right,
that
right.
up?
So women
It's a
can be
euphemism.
Bolton bros too, is what you're
Yeah.
saying. You
Well,
are
when
so
the bro-
feminist.
Yeah, I identify as a Bolton bro.
You guys would grow nice
Peter.
Bolton bro stashes.
Oh, I
I
know I,
think
would.
that's an insult.
I
Compliment.
know I would.
Really, you know, people want to shave. They got to shave. You got to keep your beards. You got to grow your beards.
Yeah.
It must be weird. I remember when I was little, my mom told me that guys don't like beards. Like they like beards look good or whatever, but shaving sucks. Like that's what guys tend to say. And I'm like, man, I can't imagine what it would be like to not have a beard. Like I don't have like a crazy beard, but facial hair, never having to shave or.
I've only like started rocking the full beard in the past like 6 months. I think I last time like November is when I like stopped shaving and
No shave November.
yeah, like and so now it's like and the reason I never had a mustache is I always thought it came in like spotty and crappy and then apparently it's just like
Phil, we'll
So-
welcome you into the Bolton bro squad.
I mean-
don't worry. Whatever mustache you could achieve.
it's a legitimate mustache.
But,
But the beard is there obscuring your fandom for John Bolton.
I have no fandom for John Bolton. Easy
Are you sure?
with those kind of
You do have a mustache.
easy with that.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.